Well, thank you so much for being here with us, Donna Vallone. And we have a lot of questions that some of our members of the Chamber, I'm sure, would love to ask you personally. So we're going to do it for them, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot from your experience. First of all, can you give our viewers, our members, some of the background in how the restaurant started, how you started with your husband in this business?
The restaurant started 52 years ago, and it started on where Saks is, on Sage and Westheimer. And it might have been the fourth restaurant in this particular area, building, and it was Tony's. It's always been Tony's. And it was an Italian restaurant with red and white checkered tablecloths and, the candle on the table. And a cute story that I always love to tell is Tony didn't have much credit then, and his refrigeration was controlled by quarters. And every night he had to put $7 worth of quarters in the refrigerator, and then someone would come on Saturdays and collect. And that's how he got refrigeration in the beginning at Tony's. And Mr. Hines came to him one day and said, "Tony, I'm going to build a galleria here, but I have a spot for you." And he had a strip center on Post Oak that he had developed or was developing. And he took him over there and showed it to him. And he also took Tony around because at the time, French restaurants were in. And so he said, "You need to see what's going on." And he took him to Chicago, and I forget where else, to show him the architecture and the food that was going on. And that's when Tony's became a fine dining restaurant on Post Oak. And I don't know to this day, but when we moved from the location on Post Oak to this location, we were the oldest of Mr. Hines' tenants.
Wow. Well, it's interesting to see that he didn't let, I can't pay refrigeration the normal way or the usual way now, but he just made it work.
Yes,
and I think that's a big lesson to take from any business owner. When you're determined, you can do it.
That's right.
So what was the best advice that you received when everything was still brand new or when you were starting?
Well, when I married Tony, we combined families. And so I was at home, and I was at home until our daughter went to high school. And then I started working in the office. I did PR in the office. And then when she went to college, I came to the restaurant and worked with my husband. And he taught me just about everything I know here at the restaurant. And I still was in the PR end of it. And I stayed in the front of the house. And of course, he stays all over, and in the back of the house and in the front of the house. He can do anything that he has hired anyone in our restaurant family to do.
Which is a great way to manage. You already know how that's done.
Exactly. So I'm usually up front checking reservations and seating people or greeting them.
So did he give you advice as you were learning so many things about the restaurant industry? Did he tell you just...
Well, he told me to have broad shoulders because he said, you never know, how people are going to be when they come in. He said, you can almost tell when they come in if they're going to have a good experience or not, the mood that they're in. He said, and just remember that a good meal will never satisfy bad service, but good service will always satisfy a bad meal.
Great
advice. Service is very, very important.
Very, very true. And what would be now that you've been doing this for so long, what would be your advice to someone that's starting out in the restaurant business or starting their own business, whatever it is?
Well, you have to be consistent and you have to be there. You have to be hands-on, and you really need to know everything that the people that you hire do. And if you don't, then you need to hire someone that does know, because you can't figure it out yourself. Just because you love to eat And and you enjoy being with people doesn't mean you will have a successful restaurant. There's a lot of hard work into a restaurant, and you have to be there 24/7. We always say this is our home, and we sleep at the address that we live in.
Yes, very demanding.
Yes, it is. It is. And I mean, it's got its benefits, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it is a family business. You need to be there to take care of things.
Well, I think entrepreneurs know that, or most of them know that there will be the one person working the hardest in their business.
That's right.
And leading by example, I'm sure.
That's right. And I always say that my husband is fair, very fair. He's firm but fair with his staff, and I think that's a good way to be, and I've learned to be that way too. It's just, you have expectations, and as long as they know what they are, no surprises, then that's a good staff.
That's true, and that translates really across the board for all businesses.
Absolutely, and consistency is the next thing. You have to be consistent.
Yes.
Whether it's in preparing the food, or if it's in the service, you have to be consistent with what you do.
So what do you think now, Houston has had an evolution through the years in the restaurant and the food industry, and now we see yet another phase of this evolution. What do you see, what are the challenges that you see now for the restaurant industry in Houston?
I think that people, especially the millennials, they really want, when they're spending money, they want to get their money's worth. And the good thing about the millennials is because of the food channel and because of their interest in wines, they're very astute. They know their food and they know their wines. And when they come in to have a good meal, that's what they want. And they know how to order, and they know what's in season. And it's really a pleasure. The thing a lot about the millennials is they just never know when they're going to get a babysitter. So they're not good at making reservations. But they may call 20 minutes before, and say, can you accommodate us? And God willing, we're very fortunate, and most of the time we do. But they're really wonderful, wonderful customers. And our regular customers, they're just tried and true. We're just proud to have them.
Well, but when you have the reputation that your name has, is people know what to expect, and they know when they come to any of your establishments, they're going to be in for an experience, and that's what they expect. So I think that would, in any other business, would be the same way. Once you are known, people know what to expect from you, and the respect between the two parties is there. So now, what are the challenges besides now having a new clientele, now having millennials that are so much more knowledgeable of food and wine? What do you think in the industry in general, with so many restaurants opening, what do you think how would they overcome the challenges of having so much competition for someone that doesn't perhaps have all of the experience that you do?
First of all, I meant to say earlier, we want you to dine, not eat with us. Mm-hmm. We really want you to have a dining experience. And that's one thing, getting back to the millennials and our regulars and all the customers that come to us. They want to be with us to enjoy the food, and we want them to. We're not going to get them in and out in a hurry. They should be able to sit and really enjoy what they're eating, and that's what we like to do. We like to talk to them about it. Now, as far as the industry, restaurants are coming up left and right, and it's consistency. It's just like in Houston we're a fourth largest city, soon to be third. We're cosmopolitan, and we have a lot of restaurants here. We fight it out with New York being number one eating out in the United States. And what happens here more than not enough is people that come from out of, not in Houston, but out of Houston in.
Yes.
They come, they open a restaurant, they're there maybe 2 months to 6, and then are gone. And so they're not watching their business. And that presents a real challenge to the consistency of what's going on. And I really believe that if you're going to open any business, you've got to be there. You've got to greet your customers. You've got to let them know that they're so important because they've chosen you. And
That's true.
and it's the truth. I mean, we're very grateful
Yes.
that we have the clientele that we do and the customers that come in. And you have to be there. You have to be there to serve them.
Well,
And I think that's the secret.
It's the open secret and great advice. How have you and Tony made it work through this time, all the time that you work together? Because it is a challenge when you go to work anywhere with family and, a spouse. He already had his system, and I'm sure that both of you have your systems in how you work. How do you make it work? And were there challenges in the beginning, and are there challenges now working together?
There are always challenges. I mean, we're human beings.
Yes.
But I know which area I'm in and can be in and are comfortable in. And I know where I land, I guess, in the restaurants. And if I have a problem, I go straight to him. That's where I go to ask. And he'll fix it, or he'll tell me what to do. And so I always acquiesce to my husband.
So what advice would you give women that are starting their businesses in the hospitality industry?
Well, what advice would I give women? I have to say, I think the advice could be for either sex, but women are very well connected in the business industry right now. I mean, I am very proud to be a woman. I'm very proud to be in the business industry and in the restaurant business. I would just tell them to be themselves. You have to be yourself. You have to, and if you make a mistake, admit it, and make sure you don't make it again. And if you need advice, ask for it. You can't always figure things out that you don't know without asking for advice. You've got to, and that's one thing that I did when I was a teacher, and I do now. I can't make things up. People are smart these days. I mean, they know if you're giving them a line or not. And why would you when you can ask somebody for the right answer? So if you're ever stumped, you really should go to someone. You should have a mentor, someone that you can go to, that you trust, that can help you succeed. If you don't feel it already. You really should. I'm a big believer in that. My mentor is my husband. But there are a lot of wonderful mentors around in every industry that all you have to do is they're a phone call away or a text away,
And I think in Houston, people are very open to sharing their knowledge, their information.
Absolutely.
When it comes to business relationships, no one is too high up or too far removed to not be contacted at some point.
I believe that Houston is a very welcoming city.
Yeah.
And I've never found anyone in Houston that doesn't want someone to succeed.
That's
in
true.
any industry, in any business. And that's one of the things that we have going for us. And I think that's why Houston is surviving all the things that we are surviving. We may be having a little challenge coming back, but we're coming back.
But it's happening.
And it's happening. And I believe that's the reason.
I have one more question. What surprised you about this industry? Anything that surprised you? Because you said you were teaching before, and of course it's such a different world. What was something that really surprised you, a pleasant surprise, hopefully?
Well, I guess the most pleasant surprise is that my husband trusted me to work with him. I mean, and I didn't think at first I could do it because I was always in the office, but it came so easy. And, whether you're in front of a classroom of children or a classroom or a restaurant of adults, it's basically the same thing.
If you could do it in front of children and do well.
Exactly. If you can talk to, exactly. And so once I got comfortable, it was just like, this is our home away from home and you're in it and we want you to be comfortable. This is our living room.
Well, thank you so much. That was
You're welcome.
wonderful
Thank
advice, great pearls of wisdom everywhere, and incredible knowledge to share. Thank you for sharing with us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you all so much.